How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Liberty Hour, streaming through Spreaker Studio, the 16 Jackson AJ1 Twitter account, and the A2 Jack YouTube channel. I am back here with Kendrick Haskins, and I was just reading the article from ComeHereFloyd.com that had to do with the Pale Umbra. Pretty much, I said all of it towards the end of the last part. Unfortunately, I did get cut off, so I'll finish the last couple sentences here, and then we'll get Kendrick's thoughts on Kendrick's how everything basically developed with this. But the end of this article says, but they say it's all right. We'll all get through it fine. Optimism with a pinch of skepticism, the way we like it. So, Kendrick, explain to me. So basically, it doesn't say on here on the website who exactly wrote that part of it, but basically, how did they get in contact with you, and how did just all of this come about?
Yeah, so I guess I kind of forgot to mention this when you asked about marketing, but I guess I can just talk about it right now. One of the other ways that we marketed was one of the people in my marketing group. He knew of this website called Submit Hub, where you can submit, I don't know if it's individual songs or like you can do an album or something, but you submit them to various like music journalists or music reviewer websites or whatever. And people can decide to talk about it or not. And I think like the way it works is like you can buy credits for it, and the credits kind of act as currency. Like you can spend a certain amount of credits to like promote a song or like submit a song, I should say, or a record or, whatever. So this guy had, I think, some credits saved up. So he was able to submit, I don't know if he just submitted this specific song or the whole EP or whatever, but he submitted material to, various different music publications, and this one responded with a yes, and they wrote about it. So that's how this happened.
Okay, yeah, because that's pretty darn cool. That's a great way, at least get some recognition there. I really like that, and I wish that, stuff like that, and at Sac State, I'm part of the school newspaper. Well, I was part of the school newspaper there, I should say, since I just finished the State Hornet. And, we have an arts and entertainment section, sports and news. The arts and entertainment section, we have had pieces that do focus on local artists, but not really much on local bands. And, I don't know of any around the area there because I don't live in the Sacramento region really as much, but I wish there would be more pieces about that. And obviously you guys have your own student voice, it's online, kind of like news, which is Zoo Media, which does have, news, sports, arts and entertainment, and all that kind of stuff. And while they do focus, and I was looking through this right before the show, they do focus on, some, bands and some music stuff. Obviously, when it comes to arts and entertainment, a lot of stuff around it actually has to do more about opinion. And I wish that, to stay more local, they would actually cover stuff more like the, local groups and stuff like that. But yeah, that's really cool that you guys were able to get some recognition. I think that was pretty awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, that was very, very flattering, to have some, I don't know how like, famous or popular this specific site is, but, it's cool to have some flowery language written about your material. So that was neat.
Cool. Well, the next thing I actually wanted to get into is just Azusa in general. So obviously, you just finished your third year, your junior year at Azusa. You've got 1 year left at Azusa. I've got 1 year left at SAC. So a couple things I wanted to talk about. The first thing is, obviously, living in Lincoln. Have you lived in Lincoln your entire life before, obviously, you started college?
No. I was born in Nashville, lived there for like 2 years. Moved to Shasta Lake, lived there for a few years. I moved to Lincoln in second grade.
Gotcha. And then I met you in like third or fourth. Well, what I was going to ask you is, though, living in Lincoln a majority of your life and then going down to Azusa, which is, a more of a private university, but it is obviously down in Southern California, close to a very populated area. When you entered college down there initially, did you notice any initial culture shock? And if so, just explain to me how basically you got used to the university lifestyle.
Specifically about the university, it's weird because even though it's a private college, so it's smaller than most universities, it was still bigger than Lincoln High School. So like I always felt like there were so many people around. especially just like, I mean, even just thinking about the people in the music department, it's like, wow, there's so many music majors here. Um, if you compare it to like, I don't know, how many people were in like band or choir in high school, um, and I guess about just that area in general. Obviously, there's just a ton of people there in general. Traffic is horrid no matter where you go. Actually, one of the song I wrote called "Dots" is about basically the pollution in that area and how you can't see any stars. The dots are the stars, or well, dots in that song are used to represent, sometimes stars, sometimes like the amount of people in an area. But like that was just like I would always look up in the sky because I'd be out just late doing work or whatever, and it's just like this dull red, and there's never any stars. Just the pollution there is just it's gross. So
Is that caused by like a lot of factories down there? Do you know, or how is that caused? Do you know why there's so much pollution specifically down in that area?
it's I mean probably factories. Just the sheer density of civilization there. I would imagine is obviously not just having the people there, but yeah, like kind of like you said, factories and companies, just all so many people, so many entities, all in that one area. It's just, of course, it's gonna be polluted. I would imagine New York City is also very polluted. I've never been
Right.
there, but yeah, no.
So you told me one time, I don't remember exactly what it was for, but we talked about this I think last summer, how you did one time while you were there at Azusa, you got a chance to go down to LA, and I don't know if you do that, how often you do that or whatever, but just explain to me. And I don't know if you've been there before, before you got to Azusa, but explain to me like how that experience was like, and yeah, just explain to me a little bit about that because I know you remember you told me about it a little bit.
I definitely don't go there as much anymore, just because I I was able to find more free time, at least a little bit more free time in the past. Um, Now I just try to keep it more around campus or on campus that I hang out with people.
Mm.
A few times I did go to LA. Um, One of the nice things is the fact that they have like a metro system there. So like if you have a metro card and the place you want to go to is semi-walkable from a metro station, then you can just hop on the metro. If you're with some friends, you can kind of just chill on the metro for however long. Um, Luckily, we had at least one person who like kind of knew the metro pretty well, and she would just like kind of point us in the right direction. And the main one that I remember is we went to this place where you can. It was like a dessert place where you eat that. It's not ice cream. It looks like big Captain Crunch pieces, but like you eat them and you kind of like blow steam out of your mouth. It's really weird. So we went there, uh, among other places, I think. But like, okay, so all I have to say, cool thing about it is the the option to use public transportation. I guess that's kind of nice. Um, so if you do that, you avoid traffic for the most part. Um, you, honestly, there's just like I keep coming back to that, but the traffic freaking sucks so bad, and I do not. I'm not excited for having to, have to drive around LA area as like my job.
Yeah.
So like as part of my job to get places, but
I guess
I
that's
mean,
a cost that goes along with it, but unfortunately, yeah, that's not exactly the best area ever. I've never really driven in that traffic, never driven in SF traffic. I drive in SAC traffic, and that's enough for me, so I can only imagine what it's like down there.
yeah, it's like I guess it's like kind of like if you take the worst sack traffic, but then have that all the time. It's kind of like, except like super late at night.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
not the way. But another thing I wanted to ask you about related to Azusa is you were telling me a little bit about how you got a scholarship, and that's very important because I'm looking at according to the U.S. Department of Education, the average cost after aid at Azusa. Of course, it is a private university, is over 25K. And I wanted to ask you, for you, what has the financial impact been for you? Has it been, have you, been fortunate enough to at least get some money to where you've been okay? Explain to me how difficult it's been paying for college in your case.
Yeah, so I got well, going into college, I got basically 3 scholarships. One of them was the honors scholarship, which I dropped after the first semester, so I'm not going to count that one. But the 2 main ones were I got an academic scholarship because I had I want to say like a 4.2 or 4.3 GPA in high school. That got me a pretty good academic scholarship. It paid for about half of tuition with just that alone. And then I got some money for a music scholarship for both having some prowess in jazz drums and like concert percussion. Those are the 2 main ones. And then I don't remember what semester it was, but I applied for additional scholarship money from the School of Music because my dad had lost his job at the time. And I was in like 4 ensembles at the time, and I continue to be in 4 ensembles, which is a lot for a music major. And so I kind of used those 2 reasons to be like, hey, can I get some more money? Like, I can't really get help right now, and I need this to stay here. And I don't want to take out a crazy more amount of loans, Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, I still did have to take out additional loans this semester because, combining the money I made with the money my parents made this last year, we were just above the threshold for the Cal Grant. So I unfortunately missed out on that. It's kind of sad. If I had worked less during the school year, then I would have had more money and I would not have had to get a loan. But because I worked a lot, I missed out on the Cal Grant.
So obviously, the issue of paying for college is something that's, very big, specifically at this point in the U.S. in general, and that's just obviously not the case for private universities, but there's, public universities out there that cost, 5 figures, if not more as well. What do you think should be, or do you think there's anything that could be done to alleviate the financial stress on college students? Explain to me what your thoughts are on that issue.
Yang gang. Just kidding. I've not looked very much into that, but all I know is, from what I can tell, your average, late Gen Z to millennial age or whatever, we're all getting out of college. Not all of us. A lot of us are going to be leaving college with a lot of debt. Some people more than others. I know some people who are going to APU with no scholarships, and they're paying most of it with loans. And that, oh my goodness, I'm thankful that I'm not in that situation. I'm really thankful for the scholarship that I do get, and I'm glad that I was able to work a good amount to help pay for it as well. But I am going to have some debt. In terms of how to fix that, I mean, college prices just keep rising. If we could, not do that, that'd be cool. In terms of, I don't know, a fix to it, I don't know. Because,
what I've pretty much, when I've talked with other people on here, the main things I've brought up is I feel like it takes a lot of people, and if they're not, if they work, it takes people almost a longer amount of time to graduate for most of them because there's a lot of classes, and I don't know how it's like at Azusa, but there's a lot of classes at public universities that are only taught specifically for your major at one time. And if that doesn't work with your schedule, you can't take that semester. You have to take it at a later semester. And then if you don't get the class, because there's a lot of people that are competitive when it comes to getting the classes, then you're pushed back as well. I think the thing is, what should happen is, if we're going to charge so much for universities and colleges, there needs to be more people working at those universities and colleges trying to help students get through in a shorter amount of time, to where it's not going to hurt them as much financially when it comes to either living on campus or paying for classes there. I'll get your response to what I just said in the final part of our 4-part podcast here at the Liberty Hour. We'll be right back. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.